Felix,
Hey Richard, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Yeah, I can't complain. Things are going very well.
Good. It's good to see you again. Cool. Well, first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me about your relationship and experience with Outsell. Really appreciate it. Yeah, but it shouldn't take long. I just got a couple of questions that I think viewers of this would find useful. If it's okay, I'll just fire ahead.
Yeah, fire away.
Cool. So let's start at kind of at the beginning, I guess. What caused you to reach out to Outsell? Kind of what problems were you having that you needed assistance with?
Sure. So I've been running my agency, I think, well, now we're 8 years in, but at the time when we first engaged, I think it was about 6.5, 7 years into the journey. And we've been growing at a nice rate, but what we had observed was that our business and our sales revenue was somewhat unpredictable. There was a lot of ebb and flow, and we were lacking the insight on how to standardize or kind of minimize the peaks and the troughs and have more predictable revenue, and also to be more strategic in our growth journey. I think a lot of what we had done was very organic, and we were now growing at a stage where we couldn't rely on intuition. We needed structure.
Cool. Thank you. And what caused you to reach out to Outsell?
So we were members of a fairly prestigious entrepreneurs organization. And Richard and my business partner Garnet were both members of this forum. And through seeing some of Richard's talks and a number of other kind of just general casual engagements, we identified that Outsell might be able to help give us some of that guidance. And so we set up a discovery call, looked and worked through what Richard had on offer, or what Outsell had on offer, and we took it from there.
Cool, thank you. I think probably 80% of the people listening or watching this will be from EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization. So yeah, it's a wonderful network, and allows you to assess people's capabilities. I would just like to say that in return, I also refer a lot of people to your agency, and you've got a very good reputation within EO.
We're very appreciative of that. Thank you.
So can you talk about some of the solutions that we worked on together? Just maybe just give a high level summary of what we did.
Oh, yeah. Putting me on call. I've got to recount accurately.
I'll jump in if need be, but as a reference.
So I think we started off with a workshop, which was to for both, I think, from your side to learn about our business, but also for you to help us to understand our own business. So we had the kind of a very intensive workshop, and from that onwards, we then transitioned into a series of coaching calls where we did a huge kind of group team effort with the workshop and worked through a lot of things to understand our positioning, our ideal customers, our sales process, and what our business looked like. And then through the coaching calls, figured out how to build a strategy to take those findings and put them into a more structured format. And so we facilitated that over, I think we did about 10 one-on-ones after that, and from there we kind of tried to swim free and see if we swam or sunk.
Yeah, you've got a good memory. We spent a particular attention on your looking at your outbound sales strategy, and we also paid particular attention looking at your sales process. So for me, one is how do you generate more opportunities, and then how, and we also had because you also had some, you had a fairly good pipeline already, and it was how we maximizing value from those opportunities that are coming through. So you're looking at things about increasing the conversion rate and the average value we got from those. So yeah, okay, cool, thanks. Let's talk about you, Felix. So how has this impacted you personally? Perhaps you could quickly, I mean, I know obviously you're the founder, but you're also involved in the sales process still.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
how's it
personally,
affected you?
yeah. So it's hard to separate, I think, myself from business. I think it's one of the key things that I was have been trying to do, to separate myself from that. So it's not I am the business, but I have a business. And so part of what this journey helped me to do was to gain clarity and a sense of guidance on where I should be looking at investing my time and my resources, and how to step back from being the salesperson entirely and looking towards building a team, which is something that I needed to do to offload my personal myself as being a key bottleneck for the business. So being able to work towards building a team that I could free up my time and have more confidence in leading a sales team, as opposed to being the sole sales being in the business.
Yeah, it's funny. We launched our podcast a couple of months ago. It's called the Founder-Led Sales Exit Plan. And it's all about how founders who are involved in the sales process cope with that. But ultimately, what is their exit plan? Because I've yet to come across a founder who wants to remain in the sales process. I would probably argue that it's critical to remain to some level, but that's for another conversation. Yeah. But it's just made me think that we should get you on that podcast. I think you've probably got a very good story to tell. So I'll reach out to you shortly about that. Cool. Last question. Since we, engaged with you, goodness me, it must be a year and a half ago or so, how has this impacted your business?
Yeah. So I think to summarize things in the most kind of succinct way is that we implemented and pivoted from an intuition-based sales system to one that is data-driven and process-driven. So we have implemented a lot more structure to our process that has enabled us to make and determine key insights and then make strategic decisions based on those insights rather than the intuition. So instead of, I think this is what works, it's, well, we have the data for that. We know what works. We know who we want to target, and we can therefore invest the resources to maximize the potential from that. And so we've seen not intuitively, but with data, that we've seen an increase in our volume of sales, in our average basket, what I'm going to call basket value, but deal value, along with the caliber of clients that we're able to work with, which has all increased. So it's given us that the processes that we discussed, and the concepts and the methodology, all of that has been kind of plugged in, and that has now enabled us to further grow and work towards our BHAG.
Wonderful. Do you mind sharing what your BHAG is to the audience?
Garnet will murder me, but we want to do $1 million recurring revenue per month in the next 5 years. So that's the, and we know it's audacious, we know it's crazy, but it's the target.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll catch up. It's been a long time since we saw each other in person. Hopefully it won't happen
Yeah, maybe over some
it all
some
happens.
drinks.
Yeah, cool. All right, thanks, Felix. Cheers.
All right.
Bye.